having critical thinking.
I want to talk about something that's somewhat difficult to think about. So think about this. If I said, I guarantee we'll never run out of oil, how can I say that?
You're crazy.
No,
You've been drinking.
not recently.
You're lying.
Well, I could be, but I'm not. So it depends on how you think about it. Now, there was a report that came out in Bloomberg Business Week that there was a report from the, the Council, World Energy Council or something, that came out and said we had all this extra oil, way more than we thought about. But that's not even what I'm talking about. There's a way to critically think about this. But what did the report say?
Okay, they said, everything you know about peak oil is wrong. Opening remarks January 30th to February 5th. The World Energy Council reports that global proven recoverable reserves of natural gas, liquids, and crude oil amount to 1.2 trillion barrels in 2010. That's enough to last another 38 years at current usage. Add shale oil, and that's an additional 4.8 trillion barrels, or a century and a half's worth of supply at present usage. Tar sands, including some huge Canadian deposits, add perhaps 6 trillion barrels more. Wow.
Okay, so they're saying, although I haven't actually measured this myself, so I don't know how much of this I believe and how much of it's a guesstimate, but it doesn't really matter. They're saying there's lots of oil out there. Okay, that's not why I'm saying we will never run out of oil. Here's why. Because as with many other things, price matters. Before you even get close to running out of oil, the price is going to rise. And the price is going to rise so much that all of the alternatives will become more common. So we're already talking about alternatives in cars and other things. When the oil price rises even more, which because population growth and demand and just China driving is a big demand on oil supply. So as that moves forward over time, we're going to have higher and higher oil prices, and the prices will eventually get so high that the alternatives become cheaper. They're very inconvenient and more expensive today, but as oil prices rise over time, eventually they will become cheaper. And that's what you're really looking for, is when they become cheaper, that's the end of Exxon. And they know it. So they got to keep those oil prices down. They know they need to keep them down.
So it doesn't matter how much more they find?
Well, no, of course it does matter how much they find because it's supply and demand. But price matters more than anything else. So as soon as they find something cheaper that comes along, that's the end of worries about oil. They need something that's cheaper than oil, which is why the price matters so much. So when you're hearing people talk about oil, and of course the pollution's horrible and would love to have a cleaner alternative, but the one thing that will completely get rid of oil, no matter what, is a cheaper alternative. So it has to be cheaper, and it can't be subsidized. That doesn't work long term. That's not sustainable. Remember,
well, maybe to get started.
Well, but we're looking for sustainability, and sustainability doesn't mean that we rob Peter to pay Paul. That works short term, maybe, but it definitely doesn't work long term. So when you think about oil, I guarantee you'll never run out. We'll always have one barrel left, even if it's in a museum. It's because the price will get so high, nobody will go dig for it. It's not worth it because there's alternatives that are cheaper. So there's some critical thinking.
Good. And what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is oil isn't about when we run out. It's about how much the price will rise before something replaces it. Adaptation is a given. We just don't know when.